तो आज मैंने सिर्फ एक डेस्कटॉप यूज करा हुआ है। ओके। All right, hello everyone. So we will be talking about entitlement and milestone today. But before that, let us understand the thing which we were not able to cover yesterday, which was the difference between least active and most available. Okay, so you have to understand that we assign the units of work to every individual. Like there is a service resource. Let's say we gave him capacity of 10. That means he can handle the 10 capacity, and uh, every work item will have a unit of capacity. Okay, so if we assign 10 as the capacity, that means he can handle 10 units. I mean the workload of 10 units. Okay, and every work item will have a work unit as well. So let's say if a case has a work unit of 3, that means an individual can have 3 cases at max, because he has total 10 work unit as his capacity. Okay, so after this point, let's say there are two associates, user A and user B. User B has total units of capacity as 5. So he can have total work of up to 5 units of capacity. Whereas there is a user B who has 10 units of capacity. Okay. Now we assign one cases to each of these users. We assign user A case which has unit of 3. So he had only 5 units of capacity, and he has taken a work item which has 3 units. Okay, so his remaining units are 2. Okay, now there is user B who has 10 units of capacity as his workload. Now he took a case which has 4 units of capacity as the load. Okay, so now his remaining is 6 unit, and user one's remaining is 2 units only. Now there comes a case, okay, which has, let's say, only 2 units of capacity. Now if we use most available, that means who is more available? User B is more available because he have bandwidth to take 6 units of work, so he is most available. Okay, so if we choose the routing mechanism as most available, then this case will go to user B. Okay, because he has obviously 6 units to take now, and this unit is only of 2 unit work. And if we compare with user A, he only has 2 units available. Okay, so user B is more available. In this case, it will go to user A if our routing mechanism is most available. Now, if our routing mechanism is least active, what least active checks is that who is less active. Like if user A is working on a case who has who has workload of 4 unit, and user B is working on a case which has workload of 3 units, then user A is more active because he is working on a case which is more important, which has more workload. Whereas user B, user A is working on a case which has workload of 3 unit. That means he is less active than user B. So in this case, the new case will come to user A because he is less active. Less active, you can compare it with the person who is doing the work which is not that you can say critical or something, so that he can take new work, because other user who is working on something that is very critical, and it is not possible to assign any more work to him because the work he is doing is more critical, and you can say more workload is there. So this is the difference between least active and most available. Okay, so most available is very simple. It is understood from the name itself, but least active is sometimes a bit confusing. There are multiple blogs and articles available on this because this is confusing thing. Everyone has tried to explain it well. Go through them and see if you are uh, if you're able to understand that. Otherwise, I will again pick this up and we'll explain it with better examples. Okay. All right. What we did yesterday was we created the omni channel. Okay, so let's take an example of queue-based routing. So we created an assignment rule. Every high priority case, if a case gets created with the high priority, then it will be assigned to high priority queue. And then from the high priority queue, we created a we created a omni-channel queue-based routing by which cases will be assigned to users automatically. They need not to cherry pick or manually pick the cases from the queue. Okay. Now what is happening? Now what is happening is that, see, cases are getting created and assigned to user, but users, uh, if they got the cases but they are not solving cases on time, cases are getting stuck on their own bucket but they are not solving it. Okay, so now business is facing a problem that now we have automated the case routing and everything is working fine, but now user, those who are working on cases are not solving cases on time, and we are not able to track that which case is taking how much time. Plus, sometimes users say that, or sometimes customer support representatives say that they forgot the cases in their queue because they were working on some other case, and that's why they were not able to solve. So now here there is a problem that, even though you automated the routing, now case is in customer service representative's bucket, but he's not solving it because he don't know which case has what priority and what time he has to solve a particular case. Okay, he's treating almost every case as equal. So in that process, sometimes a high priority case gets, uh, you can say, ignored. Okay, so what we can do is that first we will understand what is entitlement, and then we will understand how we create the entitlement process. Okay, so entitlement is something which tells you, or which tells your customer service representative, that which customer is entitled to get what service. Okay, here we will only be talking about services because Service Cloud. Okay, so which customer is entitled to get what service, that we can determine by the entitlement that customer has. Okay, whenever we work in a service industry and we sell something, and here we are not talking about the average customer service where you did a recharge and your recharge is not getting successful and you are talking to your customers. I'm talking about high value client who are doing $1 billion deal. Okay, so let's say you are Intel, you are selling your chips to Microsoft. Okay, so that will be $1 billion deal, and you will be in a serious service agreement with Microsoft that whenever they face any problem related to their chips, related to your chips, you will have to provide them service. So in that case, when deal is really big, there will be a service level agreements. Okay, we call them SLA. So these service level agreements define the terms and policies of your customer service contract with your buyer. Okay, so you are under a serious SLA, you are under a serious contract to provide a good service. And in that case, there will be some written documentation about, if you raise a high priority case, we will have to resolve it within 4 hours. We cannot miss that because we are legally bound to do that. Okay, so this service contract will be done via an object called service contract. Okay, and in that service contract, everything will be documented, your terms of service, your charges and everything. So because they are paying for your service, you will have to provide them top notch all the written service which you have provided them. Okay, so that is some history behind how, why it happens. Okay, why there is SLA, why there is service contract, and every customer will have a entitlement process attached to it, by which when they raise a case, customer service representative will go to that account and will check that which service agreement or which entitlement process that customer is entitled to, and what is the start date, end date, is it falling under the warranty or is it not falling under the warranty, is it a customer which has to get the high priority, or which should not get, we should get normal priority. So these all are things defined in the entitlement process, and that we will attach with the customer. Okay, now how do we set this up? Okay, so first is we will go to the entitlement setting, and from here we will have to enable the entitlement. From here, this is already enabled, so we have already enabled it, but once you go in a fresh org, you will have to enable it first. Okay, now there are a couple of options you can see here. Is that same account on the case that entitlement should be associated with an account. Okay, on the case, and it should only look up to the active entitlement. There are a couple of options as well for same contact on case and everything. We will check these two for now. Okay, so that on every case, whenever we'll have to look up to account to check the entitlement, it will not be available on all the accounts. Okay, so we'll have to be account specific on entitlement rather than going on. Otherwise, if we'll not check it, entitlement may be activated for all the accounts, even those who do not have any SLA with you. Okay, so for now from this page, just understand that you have to enable the entitlement and save this. Okay. Once you save the this page, then you will go to entitlement processes. Okay. I think I have created a test entitlement process to check it. Let me delete it and create the new one. See, these are the things I have also not created in last couple of years. So sometimes even I need to go through and check these things, but that is completely fine, right? Okay, let me create the new one. Forget about deleting. Entitlement. And it is not necessary that if you are working on Service Cloud, you will have to use it. It's not necessary. If your support is generic for all the customers, there is no high priority, there is no nothing, then it's not necessary for you to create the entitlement process. It depends on your company to company and service your company is providing. Okay. But as a developer, we should know that there is a functionality available in Service Cloud, which we can use later on. Okay. All right, so hi, let me name it something. And I will activate it. Now here it says that case enters in the process based on case creation date. So when we want to activate this entitlement process or when we want this process to get triggered, we want it to get triggered whenever a case gets created, and when we want to exit this process based on case close date. You will be able to select couple of other date fields as well, but these are the by default selected, and most of the time we use these only. Like when case gets created, we will start the entitlement process. When case gets closed, we will exit the process. Now, business hours. If your company is following a particular business hours, you can select here, and then the time calculation will happen based on that business hours. If your company is 24/7 company, then you need not to select this. Okay. And you saved it. The moment you save an entitlement process, you will get options of milestone. Okay. Milestone basically tells different milestone you will have in your entitlement process. Okay. So you can select create new one. And examples could be, let's say if a high priority case comes in, then you will have to resolve that case within 4 hours. If a medium priority case comes in, then you will have to resolve in, let's say, 8 hours. Or if a low priority case comes in, then you will have to resolve within 24 hours. That is the SLA set by your company. So you will create something like this. Okay. Milestone name. Okay. So let us first create a milestone from here and then associate that with the, okay, high priority cases. Okay, there are three recurrence type. Okay, one is no recurrence, second one is independent, and third one is sequential. Okay, so we have to understand the difference between them as well. First one is no recurrence. That means it will not reoccur. Whenever the entitlement process starts, it will check, and if it falls, then it will start. Okay, and then when case exits or case is closed, then it will exit. Okay, then it will not run. Independent is something where we will have to we'll have to put some criterias, and it will, based on that criteria, it may reoccur as well. And if criteria is matching, then it may reoccur in the same case as well, again and again. Again and again, as in, let's say you created a case where you'll have to check if let's say certain checkbox is true, then trigger it. Okay, then you worked on case, milestone got triggered, then you marked it as unchecked. it will get your milestone will stop. But later on, when somebody checks that checkbox, it will re-trigger the milestone. So it is independent recurrence type, where it is dependent on just the criteria, not on the entry or exit of a case. Okay. If criteria matches, it will run. If criteria falls, then it will not run. Sequential is something where sometimes we need to have a sequence of milestones, right? So if a case got created, you created a milestone that will have to respond to customer between first 24 hours. Okay. And next day, you will have to call customers to see if his case is resolved or not. Next day, you might have to send him a CSAT survey. So you have created a sequence of milestone, and you will have to, and they will trigger automatically when the time reaches or when the criteria reaches. So you have created a sequence of milestone in order to achieve the functionality. So that will be the sequential. Okay. I will select no recurrence. I just want my milestone to get triggered whenever case gets created. And if it is a high priority case, and it will not re-trigger later on. Okay. So I'll save this. All right. Now let's go to entitlement process. Select the high priority cases. Time trigger is basically what time frame you want it to. So I want it to have a 4 hours time frame, right? So that every high priority case should be solved in 4 hours. So I'll put 240 as the time trigger. Enable Apex class for time trigger. So we are not going to use Apex class to do the time trigger calculation, but you can have that thing to do the time trigger calculation as well. In case you want to do that time calculation via complex Apex class, that is also possible. But we will keep it very simple, and there is no business hours we are using. Let's order it as 1. And if the case priority is high, then we will trigger this. Okay. That is the, if you want to have another milestone for low priority case, you can create another, and then that can have a different time minutes to complete. Okay. Let me go to entitlement process list and disable other entitlements if they have any. Okay. So this was the test I created. If there is an option to deactivate it, yes, let's deactivate it, because it is kind of same criteria. I've used the same criteria. So in that case, it will not run. Okay, so now we have one entitlement process which has one milestone which says that if case priority is equals to high, then trigger a milestone for 240 minutes. Okay, so 4 hours milestone will be triggered whenever a high priority case comes in. And then once we solve the case, close the case, then it will stop. Okay, later on, if we come back and again change the stage of case, it will not reoccur because recurrence type is no recurrence. If you want that, if it should also re-trigger when you come back and again change the status, you should go for the second type, where we define the independent recurrence type. Then it will just be dependent on an criteria. That's it. Okay. So you will have to try these things on your own as well sometimes to be able to do that. Now, next step is, first is, yes, hi, Swapnil, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Rohit. What if in the 4 hours it get completed and still the case is not complete?
Yeah, so then you'll have to, this is a very good question. So what happens is, if we go back to the setup and go to the milestones, this is our milestone. Okay. Just a second. Yeah. So if you come to this milestone under the high priority entitlement process, there are a couple of actions you can see. Okay. So you will have to define, you can define couple of actions. First one is success action. When this milestone will trigger. Okay, the moment case gets created, a high priority case, this will trigger. And you can define couple of workflow actions here, that let's say you want to notify a team lead that a high priority case got created. You can create an email alert or task or anything. This is the success action whenever a milestone gets created. Okay. This is a warning action. Okay. Warning action basically means that you want to warn the user, the customer support representative who is working on a case. You can warn him, let's say a 1 hour before the actual milestone will stop. So let's say he has completed 3 hours, yet he did not resolve the case or did not work on the case. You can have a time trigger. You can add a time trigger here, and you can notify him that just 1 hour 1 hour is remaining, please work on this high priority case. And this is the violation action. Here on the violation you can add some actions by saying that okay, now that you have not resolved, you can have some let's say so you can have again add some action here uh, to send an email or the field update or anything to do that. In that case, the violation happens. So Milestone provide us these functionalities so that you can also notify user in case of milestone is breaking or reaching near the finish time. Okay. I almost missed this thing, but thank you, Swapnil, for asking. So
Thank you. Real good.
yeah, now if we, the next thing is if we go to the we go to see now next thing is to associate that entitlement with the accounts. So first thing is that on case you will have to um, there is a field entitlement. Okay, you'll have to make sure that visibility of this is true to users who want to see this, and they should be like the customer support representative who will be working on it should be able to at least see this, because you can have an automation in the back end that whenever a new case gets created and we associate an account with it, associated entitlement will automatically be populated on case, something like that, so that they'll be able to see that which entitlement. Otherwise, what they need to do is that they need to go to that account and then see that which entitlement is associated with this particular account. So you can do that. Now, if you go to account, I will not go to the service console because that is very irritating to me. Okay, now if we check for this account, there is no entitlement attached. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to first we'll have to create the entitlement record. Okay, so go and create an entitlement record. See, we have created an entitlement process. Now we will have to create an entitlement record and associate that entitlement process with this entitlement record. This entitlement record will have a lookup to account as well as to entitlement process. So that this is kind of junction between how it connects account and entitlement process. Okay, so let us create that. I entitlement process for let's say A. I don't know the name of it, so I just say now this account A is entitled to get, let's say, web support. Okay, and here we will select which account we are talking about. So let's say we are talking about Express Logistics. So this is entitlement process for Express Logistics, and if we have a service contract with Express Logistics, we can attach a service contract. Currently, this org does not have any service contract. So which asset, which product this Express Logistic has purchased from us, we can associate it here. How many cases this Express Logistics can have as per this entitlement. So we can also define the number. If he is getting unlimited, then we can leave it blank. What was the start date of his entitlement? Let's say it was 1st of Feb and he gets, let's say, a year warranty. So he will get, let's say, till 31st January. Okay. Business hours, if there are any, we can define it here, and then those hours calculation will happen based on the business hours. And here we will define which entitlement process. So every time Express Logistic raise a case with us, which has a high priority, we will have to resolve it as per this entitlement process. Okay. And if we provide the cases per entitlement, the remaining cases, this will be counted as per how many cases he has already raised. So we are not going to do that because we are following a very plain, simple hierarchy. Okay. Now, if we create a case for Express Logistic, okay, let's say we create a new case. And let's say case origin is, let's say, phone. So Express Logistic called us and then they say that they are facing some issue. Customer support representative who will be working on the case will log a case for Express Logistics. He can directly go to case and create a case and associate account, or he can go to account and go to drop down and create a case, depending on what mechanism you follow to create the case. Okay. What just we need to make sure, or he need to make sure, is that priority should be high because it's a high priority issue. That's it. Let us case the test. And let us save this. Now this case got created. If we go there, why there is no milestone? There should be a milestone which should trigger for 4 hours in this case. Okay. So we will see why.
We have created that for web, I believe.
That is not defined in the criteria. Okay. So let's see. Entitlement process. Yeah, somebody is saying that. I think we have not added entitlement to account. Yeah, you are right. Entitlement process is active. Let's go to account. Okay. We'll have a look up to entitlement process, right? Let's go to this. Check the page layout. But we have created this entitlement record, right? So that is the association for that association only, right? This entitlement record we created. This basically associates account with the entitlement process. So I think that is fine. Entitlement process is also to check in related tab. We have this entitlement process already associated, right? So, and this is active as well, right? Okay, let's create a case from here and see if it is working on. Okay, don't worry. We will figure it out. Priority is high. Let's say account name is Express Logistic. Just save text. All right, so milestone is not triggering. We will see why it is not getting triggered. Anyone has recently implemented milestone and any recent change happened on it?
Sir, entitlement process custom criteria क्लोज स्टेटस क्लोज रहेगा.
वो केस एग्जिट प्रोसेस है. जब भी केस क्लोज हो जाएगा तो ये एंटाइटलमेंट प्रोसेस एग्जिट कर देगा. दैट इज डिफॉल्ट, लाइक वी डिड नॉट डू एनीथिंग देयर. Why it is not getting triggered is something you have to figure out. Okay. Either this must be clashing with something else or okay. Let us try one more time. Otherwise, we will leave it for later to figure out. Okay. All right, we will figure it out later why it is not working. But overall, you understood what the process is and how we create it. Why it is not working is something I'll figure it out later and will tell you. Okay. Let me start the recording.
The recording.
Yeah, just a second, guys. I'll be sharing my screen. Yeah, so I think I have found the way. Found the reason. Let me create the case for this account. You remember we selected selected a field, added a field on the page layout of case entitlement name. Okay, so we will also have to select the entitlement name here as well. Okay, and see, this can be automated, of course, but because we are selecting cases manually, we'll have to select the entitlement name as well. It will not be picked automatically. We'll have to do it via some automation. So now if entitlement name is there, and then we create the case, save it, the case origin, save it. This should trigger milestone. Yeah, because we did not provide the entitlement itself on case, it was not triggering, but now that we have provided, we are able to see the milestone. Okay, now this milestone will keep on ticking on the panel wherever you want it, so that customer support representative who is working on it will know that okay, how much time he has left to solve this case, and this will have a better now that they cannot say that they forgot or they didn't know that there was only 4 hour SLA, or they were not aware about this thing, because this milestone will keep on reminding them that you'll have to solve this case. If there is any problem, you'll have to get in touch with your team lead or anybody to do that. But this milestone is basically to tell you that how much time you have left to solve this case, and this will keep on ticking. You can mark it complete as manually. Let's say you completed the process, closed the change the status to close, it will automatically be marked as completed. But if you want to complete it manually, you can also mark it as completed. Okay. So we were missing one step. Because of that, it was not triggering. And because I have also not worked on Service Cloud from last couple of years, I'm also a bit rusty on this. But these things are very easy. Like these are good to have thing. If you know them, it will enhance your chances of getting selected. Plus, they are very easy to implement. All the Service Cloud things are very easy. All they require is that you should have done them practically. Otherwise, you will not be able to explain them properly. Okay. And Service Cloud projects are mostly easy. So, I mean, there are so many things you can do in Service Cloud, yet they are so simple. They are not difficult things as well. Okay. So, as a developer, when you give an interview for a consultant position, your knowledge of Service Cloud and Sales Cloud become very important, because they don't need you just to write code. They need you to provide them solution. And they will be using a cloud, and I mean, their problems can be anything, right? It will not always be a trigger problem. It will not always be a batch related problem. It will not always be a integration problem. Sometimes their problem will be very silly, that their support representative are just picking the cases which they want to pick, but they are not picking the hard cases. So what we can do, so in that case, you will implement something like omni-channel queue based routing, and the solution you will provide does not require any coding at all. So as a consultant, our main responsibility is to solve problems, solve real business problems which they are facing. Okay, be by trigger, be by bash, be by integration, or be by just checking a checkbox. Like they say that contact should also get an email every time we raise a case for them. That is just simply a checkbox checking. You can say that, okay, that is by this. So it is all about providing solutions to your client, not much about writing code. Okay. So think about Salesforce in a way that it is a tool which will solve their real business problems. Okay. And how you will solve it is on you. Okay. All right. I will stop share, and again